Hey everybody, in the video we did with the huge bounty I asked, which candy bar do you want me to blow up next? Most chose Twix. Well, let's cook the most gigantic Twix. First, let's see what's inside it. We open it up. Got it. And we see a layer of cookies, then caramel, and milk chocolate on the outside. Now let's go to the store. The first thing we need is condensed milk. More precisely, it is an unrealistically large amount of condensed milk. We need 215 cans. We also take a lot of powdered sugar, 6 boxes. We need 55 kilograms of flour, 3 boxes of margarine, 12 bottles of eggs, and there are 20 eggs in each bottle. And of course, milk chocolate. That's it. With 2 fully filled carts, we go to the checkout. Our purchase came out to $574. That's not very cheap, but we're preparing a huge Twix. First, let's prepare the cookies for our Twix. We take 16 packs of margarine in a large saucepan. We open the margarine. And dump it into the saucepan. We filled it to the top. Just put that on the stove and wait until all the margarine melts and becomes liquid. To knead a lot of dough, we take a huge basin like this. You need 30 kilograms of flour. We open the packages with scissors. And pour out all the flour. Take the melted margarine off the stove and pour it out. We take the boxes of powdered sugar, open them, and 1.5 boxes are sent into the basin. All we have left to do is add 120 eggs, or 6 bottles of eggs. To mix all this up well, we use an industrial standing mixer. The dough is very thick, and your hands get tired from holding the mixer, but nevertheless, everything's ready. The Twix sticks will be made in these iron forms. First, pour a little oil inside. Smear it around on the walls. And cover that with parchment. Done. We lower the forms to the floor. We put the dough directly into the mold with our hands. We line everything up. And we've already filled out one form. Now you need to repeat the same thing with the second one. Done. We put the forms of the dough in our huge oven. We close the doors And turn on the burners. Our cookies will be cooked all night at 190 degrees. We swapped the molds places during the night because the burners are cooking faster in spaces. As it seemed to us in the morning, everything's ready. We put a sheet of plywood on top and turn it over. But then the worst thing happened. It turns out our cookies were not baked at all night. Of course, we were upset, but we did everything again. This time the cookies were baked all day and all night. Naturally, during such a long cooking time, the top was burnt. But it's not a problem. With the help of knives, we remove the upper burnt layer. Done. The cookies are cleaned. The open part on top will be the bottom of the Twix. We take a small part of the chocolate that we bought. We take 2 bowls and just crush the chocolates on the table. Open them and pour out the shards into a bowl. We continue this until they fill the bowl with a heap. We put all this into a steam bath. And when the chocolate began to melt and decrease in volume, we realized that this wouldn't be enough. We take another batch of chocolate and fill a bigger bowl with it. And we also send that to the steam bath. We bring the molds into the studio. The first batch of chocolate is already melted. Pour 2 bowls on top of the cookies. And we distribute the chocolate. Pour a large bowl of chocolate into the second mold. And we distribute that. After a very long time, the chocolate finally set. We put a sheet of plywood on top and turn over the cookies for Twix. We remove the stuck parchment. And this time the cookies turned out to be just awesome. With the help of putty, Dad smears the inner corners of the mold so that it becomes more rounded. Then we cover everything with parchment. We transfer them to the studio, and the next stage begins, the caramel for the Twix. For the caramel, powdered sugar is needed, and just an unreal amount of condensed milk. We open the packages, take out 5 cans, and open them. We will cook in 2 pans at once. We open 10 cans. Pour the condensed milk into the pans. Add a ladle of powdered sugar. And cook it all over medium heat until a brown caramel turns out. We send that into the mold. We will repeat this process a ridiculous number of times. We cooked the caramel, and the condensed milk burned down very slowly. In total, we cooked the caramel for 9 hours. We fill the caramel into the third of the molds. That should be enough. We line it up. Now the caramel has been in the freezer all night. We take it out, pull it out of the mold, and place it on top of the cookies. We remove all the stuck parchment from the caramel. Now we take all the chocolate that we bought, and even found dark chocolate after the last videos. We put a hefty saucepan on the table, and break all the chocolates right into it. Done. Now we take 3 smaller bowls and fill them with the chocolate pieces. We put them into a steam bath to melt. Done. The chocolate melted and became a liquid. Now let's pour this on top of the bar. We smear all this around the spatula so that the chocolate layer turns out to be even. We pour out all the melted chocolate. And fill the bowls with chocolate again. We melt it, and we try to fix all the blemishes on it. For the final filling, we add oil, and mix it well. Thanks to this, our chocolate will spread very beautifully and be glossy. Fill it in. Now we go around with a spatula, and with a spoon we make characteristic grooves on top. The second Twix stick is also covered. And we make our grooves. When the chocolate is set, our giant Twix is ready. It weighs 220 kilograms. It took 5 days to prepare it, and there are 1,078,000 calories in it. That's crazy how much. Let's finally cut into it. Hello everybody, I think that many people have tried this kind of ice cream Snickers. Today we will cook it, only a giant size. But first, let's study the original. Therefore we open it up. From the outside it looks just like a chocolate bar. Let's look inside. So the first layer is milk chocolate, then a layer of peanuts with caramel, and the last layer is ice cream with cocoa and peanut butter. Let's taste it. Yeah, this is an awesome combination, you guys. Let's start cooking the ice cream. Milk powder is often used in factories, so we're going to do the same. We collect it, measure out the right amount on the scales. We need 3.5 kilograms. Pour the powdered milk into the first basin, and another 3.5 kilograms into the second. Here's also a little bit of cocoa, so that the color of the ice cream is as in the original. You'll also need some sugar. It also needs to be measured out on the scales. You should get 4.5 kilograms. Pour it all into the first basin. Then measure out the same amount of sugar. And pour into the second. But now you will need a lot of water, 70 liters. To make it easier to mix, first pour half of the water out. And just combine the dry powders with water with a stick until you get kind of a cold cocoa. And repeat the same with the second basin. When everything is stirred really well, pour in the remaining water. In order to increase the fat content of the mixture, add some 33% cream. Now we need some xanthan and guar gum. They will make the mixture much thicker to get a good ice cream. We measure out 115 grams of each powder. Mix them together. And gradually pour into the mixture. At the same time, mix with the mixer. These powders need to be mixed very carefully so that there are no lumps. And if everything is done correctly, the mass begins to thicken. The first batch is ready. Let's move on to the second. We'll pour in the xanthan and guar gum. "20 minutes of stirring and our mass has become thick. It's time to put the ice cream in the freezer. We'll leave them here for the whole day. On the third day, we will need a lot of peanuts. Here is 50 kilograms. Our peanuts are peeled, but raw. So we'll fry them up. We pour almost a full cauldron. And turn on the gas. Now it needs to be constantly stirred so that the peanuts are fried evenly. After 30 minutes of roasting, it begins to smell really tasty. Like some beans, there's a lot of this here. Therefore, the first batch of peanuts is definitely ready. Pour it into a saucepan. Done. And now we'll fill the cauldron with the next batch of raw peanuts and fry them too. So that way we do all 50 kilograms. The composition of the ice cream includes peanut butter. Therefore, we put the fried peanuts into a melanger. The stone millstones gradually grind the peanuts, and because of the oil released, the mass becomes moist. Should we add more? The melanger will grind the peanuts for 2 hours, after which the peanut butter is obtained. And to make it sweet, add some corn syrup. And pour the perfectly smooth peanut butter into a bowl. In total, we made 3 batches. Now our bowl is completely filled. We go to our ice cream, and we see that for the whole day, it has barely even set. Pour half of the peanut butter into each basin. And mix it into the ice cream with a large mixer. By the way, this will also interfere with the air bubbles so that the ice cream will turn out way more lush. Now we'll leave it to freeze. Meanwhile, we prepare a mold for the giant Snickers ice cream bar. The inner walls are lubed with oil and immediately smeared. Now our parchment sheet will perfectly stick to the walls, and the number of folds will be minimal. Smooth out the parchment, lift up the wall, and fix the parchment with tape. Our first wall is ready. Do the same thing to the rest of the walls. We put some plywood and a food film, and also install the walls, and close the mold. Done. It's time to melt the first batch of milk chocolate, meaning 10 kilograms. Stir periodically so that the chocolate melts evenly. And an hour later, everything's ready. We remove the gastro capacity and pour all the chocolate on the bottom of the mold. Don't forget to scrape the remains from the walls. There's at least 1 kilogram of chocolate there. And spread the chocolate on the bottom of the wide spatula. The next day, our chocolate is set, and our ice cream has too. So you need to mix it one last time to still mix up the air bubbles for splendor. Done. While the form is still empty and light, we transfer it to the freezer. We scoop up the ice cream and transfer it into the mold. Carefully level out the ice cream layer and close the freezer. For the caramel, pour 8 liters of milk into a saucepan in advance and put it on the stove to heat up at a low heat. Now you need to squeeze out 7.5 kilograms of corn syrup into a large saucepan. We set the pan on the burner and put 30 kilograms of sugar on to sleep. Pour 4 liters of water on top and mix so that all the sugar gets wet. Done. You can turn on the burner and cover the pan. Use a lid for this, so it can heat up faster. When the caramel boils, we remove the lid and install a thermometer. Cook the caramel to 144 degrees. Now, you will need a lot of butter. So open them up. This block is 5 kilograms and we need 4,200. Therefore, we cut off the excess and cut the rest into large cubes. And throw it into the caramel. Now this oil needs to be mixed with caramel. Now you just need to pour in 8 liters of hot milk. And mix that with the caramel as well. At this point, the caramel's ready. Pour half of it into another saucepan. And cover all the roasted peanuts. Mix all this with a stick until the caramel envelops the peanuts. Done. We go to the freezer. And just put this mass into the mold with our hands. We emptied out the first pan, so we bring in the second one and continue to fill in the mold with caramel. Carefully level up the caramel. And leave it to finally freeze overnight. The next day, we're going to take out our mold. And we open it up. We don't need the wooden walls anymore, so we remove them. And close the mold again. Pour some milk chocolate into the Marmite. And melt it. But this time we need a lot more fluid chocolate. Therefore, pour a glass of oil and mix. Now the chocolate is how you need it. Pour this in. First of all, fill the cavities that appeared after we removed the wooden walls. Melt another portion of chocolate. And pour it right on top. Smear this all over the surface. And wait for solidification so it can be opened. This giant Snickers ice cream is ready. In fact, it's one of the heaviest bars we've ever made. Its weight is as much as 200 kilograms, and it took 5 days to prepare it. Let's cut it open and look inside.